What is up, sports bettors? It is Matt Modi here with OddsJam, coming to you another day closer to football season starting, which is incredibly exciting. So I hopped on OddsJam, went to the positive expected value page, found two sharp NFL bets that I'm going to lock in right now that I recommend you guys lock in right now as well. One of them I actually already did lock in. It's this under 42 in the Bears versus 49ers, as you can see right here. Bet has been locked in. This next one is a bet that I have talked about multiple times, either on this YouTube channel or on my podcast, Sweat the Bet, about this over in the Cardinals versus Chiefs game. It's still positive EV. I still love it. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it in again, continually hit this over until it no longer has a value. So these are my two sharp bets. Let's chat about them. Number one, of course, their positive expected value. I found both of them using OddsJam, using the EV page to find these sharp bets. Two totals bets, which I think is fine. I don't necessarily avoid totals bets like I know some people like to do. If it's positive EV, I'll still hit them. The first one, which again, already locked in here, is the under 42 in the Bears versus 49ers game. So the reason why I like this one, of course, as I mentioned, it's positive expected value. It's got a lower profit margin at 0.28%, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad bet or that it's something that should be avoided. I still think locking in these lower percentage bets still have a ton of value. Like this Bears under is 0.28%, this Cardinals Chiefs over is 0.24%. I still think they're both good. So the no vig line of this Bears 49ers one prices at about minus 110, minus 111 if you want to round up. And we got it again on the win bet at minus 110. So that kind of shows the value of why this is positive expected value in the first place. Although, of course, with betting totals and spreads, I like to look into the other markets and I want to see where every other book is pricing not only the odds for this under, but where they're pricing the under itself. And as we can see here, only two other books, Fox Bet and then Pinnacle, the OddsJam line, Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest line in the world, is giving prices for this under, but they're heavily favoring the under 42. Fox Bet has it at minus 125. The OddsJam line has it at minus 122. So if you click View Event Page, it takes you to the holistic betting market. So at this thing up here, this line up here, it just gives you a summed up version of what the main lines are. And then if you scroll down, you can look at all of the alternate lines. And we can see why this under is such a value. No other book is pricing their main line of this total at 42. BetMGM, FanDuel, Tipico, BetOnline, which is another really sharp sports book. So those four are pricing this total a half point lower at 41.5. BetOnline actually is favoring the under 41.5. So not only are we getting it a full point higher than that, but these sharp books actually think the under of a half point lower is the more likely scenario. Same thing with Pinnacle. They think that the under 41.5 is the more likely scenario just when you look at how they're pricing the odds. Minus 115, minus 105, minus 113, minus 101. Favoring this play going under 41.5, and we got it at 42. This next one, this at 41, PointsBet, Caesars, Fox Bet, and the OddsJam line prices total at 41, a full point lower. So line shopping, getting these totals, getting these prices lower than what all the other books have them priced at is really valuable in the long run. I know it doesn't seem like a lot. You're like, oh, wow, I beat it by a point or half a point. But if you can just beat the closing line by even half a point, it can make your bets go from winning 50% to winning 55%, which is literally the difference in profiting betting at minus 110 odds versus not profiting. And I'm telling you, if this total lands on exactly 41, you will feel like an absolute genius. Now, for football reasons, for handicapping reasons, I absolutely love this one. So the Bears, let's start with the Bears offense. So they're starting a second-year quarterback in Justin Fields, who has some potential but struggled last year. But I want to look at their offensive line ranking. So Pro Football Focus, let's look at where the Bears rank on their offensive line. They rank 31st, which is the second worst in the entire NFL. So they have a poor offensive line. Let's look at PFF, where they grade their wide receivers. So They give the Bears the literal last. So the second worst offensive line, the worst wide receivers, the worst skill positions. Now, let's look at, if you want to look at DVOA for the 49ers, let's see how they rank defensively. So basically we're saying we don't think the Bears are going to score a lot. Let me log in, my stupid username I came up with. So total DVOA, the 49ers had the 7th best defense in the entire NFL last year. So I'm not expecting the Bears to score a lot. Now, I do think that Trey Lance and the 49ers offense is going to be good, but let's just look at Trey Lance's Wikipedia page and how little experience he has. So he's only thrown 318 attempts in his college career, and the most attempts he threw was back in 2019. So it's been the 2020, 2021 season, and then 2021, 2022, 2 full seasons where he threw 30 passes, and then his NFL career he threw 71. Not a lot of experience. Now he is going in as the starting quarterback. He's on my fantasy team. I think he's going to be really good over the course of the year. I think he's going to struggle in week 1. So I love getting this total to go under 42. It's a low number, but I still think it's a really good bet. And this next one, the Chiefs versus Cardinals. So it's positive EV, of course, tight market with only 15 cents. No big line, has it at minus 106. Again, if you want to line shop. So most books actually have this at 53.5, but no book is giving you as good odds as minus 105 that FanDuel is giving you. BetOnline and the OddsJam line think that the more likely scenario is that this total goes over 53.5, and we are getting it on FanDuel at minus 105, which is the only book that is favoring the under. No other book thinks that the under is the more likely scenario. And then PointsBet, WinBet, and the OddsJam line prices total at 54, with again the OddsJam line favoring the over. So another situation, in which line shopping has gotten us a very good price on this total. And I've already talked about this one, so I don't want to go too in depth to it. But the Chiefs historically start on defense slow, start on offense fast. So if we look at their schedule to begin the year last year, week 1, over 60 combined points. Week 2, over 70 combined points. Week 3, 54 went over. Week 4, 72 combined points. Week 5, 58. It wasn't until week 6, where a total finally went under. So the Chiefs, they historically start slow on defense, as I mentioned. The Cardinals are a team that always finishes the year horrible, but in order to finish the year horrible, that means you have to have a fast start, which I trust the Cardinals to do, which is what they've done every year. So it's a high total. They were taking it over, but I think it's a really good bet. So I already locked this one in. I locked in the under for the Bears as well, and those are my 2 sharp NFL bets for you guys to lock in right now. And that's it. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're tailing. If you are, I'd love to hear it. But that's going to be it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, provide you awesome content throughout the entire football season, and have a good one.